Maresca reveals Palmer plan and Acheampong love. Enzo Maresca revealed he planned to take Cole Palmer off at halftime during Chelsea's 3-0 victory over Legia Warsaw and declared his love for Josh Acheampong. Palmer started the Conference League quarterfinal first leg in Poland and was replaced by Noni Madwek at the break, which raised fears of an injury. We planned for him, Palmer and Tosin, to come off on 45 minutes. Everything is fine, said Maresca. Chelsea kept a clean sheet, with Acheampong once again showing his versatility in defense, playing at right back. It was a good night for Chelsea youngsters as Tyreek George scored his first senior goal for the club. Happy first of all for the Chelsea Academy, because George is one of our boys, Maresca. He was quite good in the first half, taking responsibility. He was probably better in the middle. The one I fall in love with tonight is Josh Acheampong. He can be a fantastic player for this club. A good player can play in different positions, and he showed that. Since we started, I'm in love with him, but tonight he showed he can be a very good player for this club. He can be good in different positions. The best thing for Josh is that he's open. He wants to learn. Full back, no problem. What do I have to do? Special young player predicted to skip loans and go straight into Maresca's plans next season, while Tyreek George was the one who scored a first senior goal. It was fellow Academy teammate Josh Acheampong who soaked up the most praise from his manager the post-game press conference after Chelsea beat Legia Warsaw in midweek in the Conference League. Enzo Maresca said he was in love with the youngster, and we were gushing over him too. The London is Blue podcast spoke about him, their summary of the game, and claimed it was impossible to see a situation where he wasn't seriously involved in the first team rotation next season. As one presenter pointed out, he's already as good or better than some of the alternatives and has far more capacity to improve. Josh is 18 years old. His ability to improve at an exponential rate is going to be much higher than some of the other players that we may have been banking on or trying to bank on maybe a little too long, Dan Dormer said. Chelsea youngster doing his apprenticeship to line up regular starts next season. Co-host Dan Verlini praised Maresca's treatment of the teenager and said he didn't see a scenario where Acheampong wasn't involved heavily next season. We're going to have a lot of rotation in that back line, it feels like, in the next month and a half, so give the young buck a chance. He looks so composed out there, Verlini said. He didn't get phased. He was very strong. He's special. I'm just so pleased that our manager has finally seen the light and decided to heap some praise on the young man, because I can't imagine there's a scenario next season where he's really in the mix for it. He's doing his apprenticeship right now. Athletic, this nuanced handling is proof of good coaching from Maresca. Enzo Maresca ended last night's press conference with some unusually effusive praise for some of his young players. Asked about Tyreek George, who had scored his first senior goal, Maresca was delighted to praise him, but also pointed unprompted to the great all-around showing of George's academy colleague Josh Acheampong, who played in 3 different positions through the course of the game in a tough away atmosphere and excelled in all of them. Maresca declared himself to be in love with the teenager, who he has had a funny old time with. After bringing him into the Premier League to start in January and calling him the best player on the pitch, Maresca took him off against Bournemouth 2 weeks later and basically blamed him for one of the Cherries' goals. Since then, Acheampong has played 55 minutes total, spread across 3 appearances. But clearly Maresca hadn't gone off him totally, and last night he was very deliberate in reminding him how much he's rated. Maresca's tough love pays off with rapid development of youngsters. In his piece for The Athletic, Liam Twomey was even willing to say that Maresca's tough love use of Acheampong and George was helping their development. Maresca's nuanced handling of Acheampong and George may have given Chelsea to more players capable of meaningful contributions, Twomey speculated. Analysis: Maresca's changes pay off. Sky Sports' David Richardson. Enzo Maresca was criticized for his Chelsea lineup against Brentford, but his changes paid off at Legia Warsaw. Chelsea are all but through to the Conference League semi-finals, boring an almighty collapse at Stamford Bridge, and once again, Maresca used his squad to full effect in the competition. Tyreek George capitalized on his start by scoring a first senior goal. Cole Palmer was given 45 minutes on his return from injury, and his replacement at halftime, Noni Madueke, scored his first goals since his long absence. It was an easy victory after a slow start, which has been somewhat of a theme in Europe for Chelsea. This was the fifth occasion on which they failed to score in the first half. Maresca said after their last 16 win over Copenhagen that they had planned for a strong second half, and their improvement in this tie after the break was clear. They are continuing to make light work of the Conference League as expected. Reporters Chelsea beat Legia Warsaw in Conference League quarterfinal first leg. Cole Palmer subbed at halftime for Noni Madueke. Tyreek George scores first senior goal early in second half. Madueke nets twice to give Chelsea commanding lead ahead of second leg on April 17th. Tyreek George scored his first senior goal before substitute Noni Madueke netted twice to put Chelsea in complete control of their Conference League quarterfinal with a 3-0 first leg victory at Legia Warsaw. George, who joined the Blues at the age of 8, tapped in the opener for minutes into the second half after Chelsea had labored during the opening period despite dominating possession. Madueke came on for Cole Palmer at halftime, a change that had been planned by head coach Enzo Maresca, and added a deserved second for Chelsea with a smart finish into the bottom right corner from inside the box. Chelsea were much improved in the second half, moving the ball quickly and threatening every time they went forward, having been frustrated by the hosts. However, Christopher Nkunku was unable to improve his poor form, which has now seen him score only once in his last 12 appearances after having his penalty saved by Kapper to Biage. Madueke, though, scored 25 seconds later with a simple tap-in from Jadon Sancho's score pass into the 6-yard box to give Chelsea a commanding lead ahead of the second leg at Stamford Bridge on April 17th. Maresca, we plan to have our best players for this game. Chelsea head coach Enzo Maresca said, we plan to try and have our best players for this game and give chances to the rest of the players to recover energy. Overall, a professional performance, a good result. We were much better in the second half compared to the first half for different reasons. We need to learn to play different kinds of games. On Tyreek George and Josh Acheampong, happy first of all for the Chelsea Academy because he's one of our boys. He was quite good in the first half, taking responsibility. He was probably better in the middle. The one I fall in love with tonight is Josh Acheampong. He can be a fantastic player for this club. A good player can play in different positions, and he showed that. Since we started, I'm in love with him, but tonight he showed he can be a very good player for this club. He can be good in different positions. The best thing for Josh is that he's open. He wants to learn. Full back, no problem. What do I have to do?